I'm trying not to get too hot in here, but my child needs to go to bed. This is TWIS, This Week in Science, episode number 579, recorded on Wednesday, August 10th, 2016. It's not aliens. I'm Dr. Kiki, and tonight on This Week in Science, we are going to fill your heads with an ice worm, generous spiders, and letdowns. But first...
Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. The world of man is the world of stories. Stories forge our religions, form our ethics, frame our political leanings, and foster our imaginations. It is how we read and write our history. Storytelling is the power behind the urban and the legend. From Gilgamesh to Campfire Ghost, it is the fuel for our media as well. Books, movies, music, news, poetry, paintings, photographs, social media posts, sports, video games, and even the 20-second commercial are all telling us the story of the world. And in many ways, each of us is living in a fable, stitched together by the stories that surround us. And then there are some stories that speak to us about the world beyond the ideological barnyard, past the pools of poetry and pontification, trending lightly over the latest hashtag hill, and sitting there just outside the gates of Fairy Tale Town, there is science. And the stories told by science can not only teach us our history beyond the fortunes and failings of its human inhabitants, but teach us the history of our planet, our solar system, and our universe. And as well teach us ways we can write our own future. And writing the course of future human history is exactly what we've come to expect from This Week in Science. Coming up next.
I've got the kind of mind I can't get enough. I want to learn everything. I want to fill it all up with new discoveries that happen every day of the week. There's only one place to go to find the knowledge I seek. I want to know what's happening. What's happening? What's happening this week in science? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening this week in science?
Good science to you, Kiki and Blair.
And good science to you, Justin, Blair, and everyone out there. Welcome to another show. Thank you for joining us once again for another episode of This Week in Science. We've come together in the name of science, right?
Yeah.
All this science news we hold dear. It's not necessarily, science is a tool. It's a way of looking at the world. It's the way of getting your news so that you can form opinions and then be able to get through the world in a daily manner. It helps to inform your lifestyle. It is not your lifestyle, unless, of course, you only live in a lab. But how many of us do? Anywho, on this week's show, I have tons of news stories. This was a good week for science, I have to say. My news stories are, number one, first and foremost, not about aliens. Gonna put it right out there.
So you're saying it's about aliens?
No.
Yeah, I heard aliens.
It's not about aliens. Physics bummers. I got 3 of them right in a row. Bam, bam, bam for physics. And also an interesting conversation we should have about bird brains. Justin, what'd you bring?
I have got some old tool news, as I always enjoy the old tool news. I also have a ice worm story, and if there is time, I think we were may have been both going to be talking about the failings of science in physics, or the misses in physics. But there's a story out there about whale ears too. I'm trying to bring that today.
Not whale hips, but whale ears. That'll be interesting. Yeah. And Blair, what's going on in the animal corner? Are you all ears?
Not exactly. I'm all invertebrates this week. So I have information about how honeybee colonies breathe, about generous spiders, and about randy fireflies.
Oh, those randy fireflies, their lights blinking on and off, and how they go, just there. Look, there's one there, little blinking on and off. They're just talking to each other out there. Yeah, yeah, you betcha. You betcha.
Is that how fireflies talk?
I think so. They have like a.
Oh, hey there! You got some interesting
We've got
lights going on there.
Midwest Fargo accent happening. Yeah, in my imagination.
Well, be sure to do that story completely in that accent.
Perfect. Oh, hey, hi, yeah, okay. Okay, number one, you guys, starting off the show, like I said, it's not aliens. It's not. So GeekWire and also Gizmodo have reported on a paper that was published in the Physics Archive preprint portal. Caltech astronomer Ben Montet, or Montet, if it's French, I'm not sure, and Joshua Simon of the Carnegie Institute describe their results in this paper of a photometric analysis of Tabby's star. And Tabby's star, this, good to know, it was first flagged in the Kepler telescope database by citizen science astronomers. So that's very interesting. Number one. Number two about Tabby's star is that it was named after a female astronomer known as Tabby Boyajian. This is great. Number two, star named after a female astronomer. So the star was discovered, and since being discovered, it's gone through so many iterations in the popular press because it had some weird erratic flickering. Astronomers were like, what is this? It's dropping light by like 20%, and then it goes back up. Luminosity is defying explanation. Maybe it's aliens.
Yeah, obviously.
Right, so there was the proposition that it was an alien Dyson sphere, that the aliens were creating a massive energy collecting device around the star. That didn't really pan out as far as alien signals that they went looking for, and other aspects of the luminosity didn't quite match with it. So the second idea was like, oh, well, maybe there's cometary debris around the star, and that cometary debris is irregularly spaced outside of the star, and so what we're seeing are these comets flying through and dimming the star and getting and thus causing the dimming. So that's kind of where we were. However, there was another researcher who had been looking at this star for a significantly longer time, but not he wasn't looking at Kepler data. This guy, Bradley Schaefer of Louisiana State University, used old photographic plates of the sky that went back about 100 years through the 19th century. And he calculated, just based on these photographic plates, that the light had dimmed by approximately 19%. So consistent dimming over the last 100 years, not just the flickering. There's an overall diminution of the luminosity. So people were like, there's no way. It became controversial. Lots of holes started getting poked in the study, and so it was like, Bradley Schaefer, whatever. So Montet and his colleague were like, hey, we need high-precision data. How can we get this? Oh, the 4 years that Kepler was staring at it. So they got the Kepler data, and they looked at the luminosity from that Kepler collected about this Tabby's star over the last 4 years. And yes, it has the flickering, but they calculated that over the last 4 years, the star has indeed dimmed. And it has dropped in its luminosity, faded away by about 3% over that 4-year time period. Which is interesting. And nobody knows why. So still, it is the star that defies explanation. But
So-
aliens are not among them. Aliens are not among any of the explanations that we have at this point. It just
Okay.
doesn't fit any of the models, that's all.
Cool, 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 cool. So it's magic.
No, it's a star.
Oh,
And we don't
Just
know
saying.
everything about the universe yet.
it's wizards, is what you're saying.
No, it's a star.
All right.
Okay.
Just to
okay.
be clear.
I know, I just was saying. I mean, if I were shouty Blair, I might shout it out, in bold caps meme lettering. It's not aliens.
Yeah, that seems accurate.
Yeah. It's just a dimming star. We have no idea why. It's an interesting star. And so, of course, people are going to continue looking at it to try and figure out if they can figure out what is going on. Mysteries are fun.
It's only a matter of time until we find out. I'm sure there's some very interesting natural phenomena at work.
Yeah. Yes, there's going to be a fascinating natural phenomena, and hopefully it will not affect our star. We don't need anything like that anytime soon. Yeah. So moving on from Tabby's star, which I love the name of it, we're going to come back home to Titan, Saturn's largest moon. The Cassini mission did a flyby of Titan, and on its flyby, of course, you're going to take some measurements. You're going to do some work. Cassini is there to do work. And Cassini used radar to get an idea of what was in the canyons on Titan, because Titan has this pretty intricate canyon system. And the question is, where did this canyon system come from, and what lies beneath? And nobody really knew. There were guesses. And now, based on radar, what came back was radar data that was similar to a reflection of a pond or a river. So it was flat with very, very little changes from that flat surface. Kind of like if you imagined taking radar off of a mirror. You would get a very flat surface in response. And so what they infer from the data is that the bottoms of the canyons are filled with liquid hydrocarbons. So like the Grand Canyon here on Earth was carved by a river of water, this canyon system on Titan could very well have been carved by river of hydrocarbons, which is fascinating. And so now we have a little bit extra data that supports the idea that the hydrocarbon rivers were there and could be involved in eroding Titan's surface. From the Science Magazine news website, they say that this was reported in geophysical research letters, and that this particular flyby hints that several tributaries in the river network also contain liquid. And it's a hint that these rivers are still actively eroding Titan's surface. Not that it was something that happened a long time ago, but these are active rivers flowing to a sea of hydrocarbons and eroding in the process. I love thinking about how I really love thinking about how the same processes that happen here on Earth with one material, water, can happen in another place in a different way. I mean, Titan is like 100 some odd degrees below zero. Water is ice. Hydrocarbons are the liquid. Do they flow the same way? How do they erode? Do they have the same kind of viscosity? How is the erosive process? Does it work in the same way? Is it different? Obviously, if this is happening, it is very similar. If we are seeing these canyons that are so very similar to ones we see here on Earth.
I think about that, and then I think about how we try to define life, when we're looking for life and what it takes to make life. And if you're on a place that has such different environments that, yeah, that water doesn't flow, but hydrocarbons do, a lot of the rules that we assume don't necessarily constrict all of the things that we're looking for there. It's just such a different place that that's part of the search for life that's always bothered me too, is yes, on our planet you need water, you need flowing water for life. But is that necessarily always true?
No, I do not
also,
believe so.
Yeah.
This planet started as a swarthy, hot ball of molten lava at the surface, and then we had a really super toxic atmosphere for a long time, and then life emerged from this. So, yeah, who's and life overcame what would have been it existed at a time that would be completely toxic to all life that's on this planet now. So
yeah, it's just you have these
constraints.
Yeah, you have these constraints that we've kind of imposed on our ideas of what it looks like to look for life. But we also have the time scale, of course, which is also totally not synchronous with other bodies necessarily. So it's hard to simultaneously expect that all things are possible and also never be able to fathom what it's like to be on Titan.
Right. But there's this also pesky thing that I bring up, I think, every time we have this type of conversation, which is, from what we can tell, life arose in one instant. Or one instance, and evolved into all the different life forms on the planet. It would be sort of, maybe we can't tell. Maybe it was happening, but it seems as though all life on the planet is very related. I think it would be more interesting and a better sign that it's possible that there is life on these other planets if we could prove that life had arose multiple times on this one planet that we seem to think is so hospitable to life, because even our own existence on this planet may not, maybe this is not a hospitable planet to life. This is now to the life that's evolved to be here, but maybe this is what we've got currently is a bad way to have a planet. That Goldilocks ideal is actually terrible for starting life. We need a more extreme environment, which actually then might lend itself to say that there could be life on many of these planets that don't seem like they're habitable, because you have to start with a planet that's not habitable for life to evolve into habitating. Really,
I found an infographic from last year, 2015, from space.com about living on Titan. So it's hostile, right? It's super cold, lakes of liquid methane and ethane, and the weather's crazy. There's no water, or if it is, it's caught up in frozen ice. So how could we live there? From the infographic, it has a dense atmosphere of 95% nitrogen and 5% methane at 1.5 times the air pressure on Earth. Titan's atmosphere is unbreathable, but if you were standing on Titan, you would not need a pressurized spacesuit, only a breathing mask and protection from the cold. The gravity is much less than it is here on Earth. It's 0.14 versus Earth is 1.0 gravity. So we'd feel very light and bouncy. bouncy. One Earth day is equivalent to 16 days on Titan. The length of the day, the orbital period in Earth days, one Earth day is 16 days on Titan. Because Titan's orbital period, I guess, is around Saturn. And the average temperature, much colder than here, 94 Kelvin versus 290 Kelvin here on Earth. And 94 Kelvin correlates with around minus 179 degrees Celsius. It's a little
chilly.
Yeah, a little chilly. So you wouldn't be crushed to death by the atmosphere, but yeah, you wouldn't necessarily get on very well with it either. This is This Week in Science. Justin, what'd you bring?
All right, let's see. What have I got here? Oh, wait, that's not the first story. Here's the first story. First story, 10,000 stone tools have been discovered, and what would have been a lush wetlands at the time of the tool makers, and what is now a desert in northwest Jordan. The team that discovered this examined 7,000 of the tools, including scrapers, flakes, projectile points, hand axes, quite an assortment of tools. 44 of these were selected for a sort of forensic testing. 17 of those 44 tested positive for protein residue, bloody bits or things of residue of animals and the like that was left over. Residual remains of animals were discovered here, including horse, rhinoceros, wild cattle, and duck. What makes this discovery particularly interesting isn't that our ancestors hunted ducks with axes, which is much, much harder than you might imagine it to be. They're quick and they can fly, so you either have to sneak up on them, like be super sneaky, or be really good at throwing that axe. But what's really interesting is that these were not our human ancestors, but rather the site dates to around 250,000 years ago, which is before Homo sapiens evolved, let alone left Africa. Researchers have known for decades, this is quotey voice, researchers have known for decades about carnivorous behaviors by tool-making hominins dating back 2.5 million years, but now for the first time we have direct evidence of exploitation by our Stone Age ancestors of specific animals for subsistence, says paleoanthropologist April Noel of the University of Victoria. The hominins in this region were clearly adaptable and capable of taking advantage of a wide range of available prey, from rhinoceros to ducks, in an extremely challenging environment. What this tells us about their lives and complex strategies for survival, such as the highly variable techniques for prey exploitation, as well as predator avoidance and protection of carcasses for food, significantly diverges from what we might expect from this extinct species, says Noel again. It opens up our ability to ask questions about how Middle Pleistocene hominins survived this region, and it might be a key to understanding the nature of inbreeding, intrabreeding, and population dispersals across Eurasia with modern humans and archaic populations such as the Neanderthal. So this is, it's also, another thing I might point out is that other researchers with tools who found these sorts of tools in the past might apply this new sort of technique, this protein searching technique that they're using, and identify perhaps remnants of these proteins on their tools, and it might tell them what was being hunted. So this is a really amazing ability to look at, because we look for bone fragments, other fossilized dead things, or fossilized dead things around the discovery of these tools to try to discover what might have been hunted by these people. But just because you find stone tools, which are already stone tools, they're already fossils. They're already fossilized, right? They're stone. They survive much better, and if you don't happen to get fossilizing conditions for the sort of garbage heap of bones that have been eaten and dismantled, you don't really get a look into what those tools were being used on. Right. However, if you can apply this technique and get some of these proteins, and it can actually identify what kind of animal it was that was being worked on, why, of course, you have science taking place. That's the information. So this study has been published in the Journal of Archaeological Science. Really fascinating technique. I would like to see more data come in and see more tools and get this tested.
Yeah, it's such an interesting idea. I mean, of course they didn't, fastidiously clean every one of their tools after they were used, right? So there's going to be little flakes of blood or tissue that remain on the arrowheads, that remain on a rock or a knife or whatever it is. That's just such a yay, smart people.
I'm actually, and I'm not sure how the process worked, how they were able to figure out that these proteins or these bits of blood and really identify what kind of animal it was from it. That's like that would be a better story than what I just brought you. That's even more interesting, what that process was, maybe. But the idea that they could apply this to other stuff. there's a wealth of knowledge out there then, just waiting to be brought in.
Yeah, it sounds like it. That's pretty cool. And it looks as though the paper at this point is available open access. So if people are interested, you'll be able to. Yeah. So they were looking at, it looks as though they were looking protein residue for an anti-serum. So they were looking for types that they were positive for, like you said, horse, duck, rhinoceros, etc. And since they knew the location, they can probably narrow it down to more specific, and timing, they can probably narrow it down to more specific species based on that.
Nice.
Yeah. Get a family, and then based on location and timing, narrow it down.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, so that could be used everywhere then. I mean, I was like, there's no DNA there. How are they figuring out what kind of animal?
The method of logical deduction.
I'm going to go dark for a second because I've got to chase down this fly. Otherwise, it's going to drive me crazy.
All right, well, don't worry about that because do you know what time it is?
Oh, I do. It's that time again.
It's time for Blair's Animal Corner.
She loves our creature, crabs, all. 5-peg millipede, no pet at all. Wanna hear about animals? She's your girl. Except for giant pandas and squirrels. That I'm for her.
What you got, Blair?
Oh, well, for starters, I have some really exciting news about bee colonies. Asian giant honeybees, to be exact. And I've reported on the show before, and we've talked at length about how bees are really good at moving in synchronicity and making sure that the inside of the hive is nice and warm, the outside of the hive remains cool. Bees will cycle their way in and out so that everybody stays alive and healthy, even when it is super cold outside. That makes a bee colony almost a warm-blooded superorganism, some could say. Well, a recent study published in Open Access Journal Plus One by Gerald Katzberger of the University of Graz, Austria, and his colleagues found that Asian giant honeybees, Apis dorsata, they have these large single comb nests out in the open, and that does make them potentially vulnerable to extremes of temperature. What they found is that these bees create an insulating bee curtain of 5 to 7 layers of bees covering the single central comb. And they had previously observed something where when you looked at them with a hydrothermic camera, you were able to see certain areas of the nest would be cooler than others. But it wasn't just the outside and the inside. There would kind of be these holes of coldness. And what they found was that certain bees in this curtain act as fanners during the hottest part of the day. What they actually do is they align their bodies so that they funnel air towards certain regions of the nest to cool them. So these bee curtains actually, in certain areas, move in synchrony to ventilate the nest, and it looks like mammalian inhalation.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So this nest of bees is actually breathing.
But over a much larger period of time, not like...
No. Yeah, so what they do is they stretch their limbs against the comb, they expand the inner nest area, lowering the internal pressure. They create like a vacuum, like a suction, like a... and that pulls in cool, fresh air through the funnels from the bee curtain. And then they relax the nest interior, which presses the warm, stale air from the center out. So it's just like breathing, but yes, over a longer period of time.
You call it like breathing. It's also bellows.
Is it cooling?
Yeah.
Bellows
Yeah, I mean-
function.
Yeah, so it cools them, exactly. Yeah. So pretty cool stuff. So that's honeybees. So that's a group of invertebrates working very well together.
It's amazing that they're able to coordinate in that way. And
I
it's not all the bees, it's only the ones in the curtain.
Right. Now I have a story of a group of invertebrates not working together so well, and that's social spiders. So yes, I said social spiders. I apologize in advance for all of the spidery dreams all of you will have later. But yes, social spiders, that is a thing. Anelosemus aximius lives in South America, and they are one of the largest social spider species, meaning not the individuals are large, but their colonies are large. They can go anywhere from 1 or 2 to tens of thousands.
Okay, that's where the nightmares start.
Yeah. So, for example, the researcher who was looking at this originally saw a massive nest on the side of the road in Ecuador, about 5 meters tall. That's about 15 feet. 4 meters across. Yeah. So then they went back a few weeks later, and this giant spider colony was gone. So, in a study published this month in the Journal of Animal Ecology, researchers from UBC's Department of Zoology found that it was Ruth Sharp and her colleagues found that these spiders had a very particular personality flaw. And that is that these spiders, they're often very good at catching things, and actually so good that they'll catch things that are too large for them alone to eat. And so when they nest together, they form this large web. They work together to capture prey. That could be things like bees, wasps, butterflies, and other insects. And when they catch something that's too large, they share. But what happens is they discovered that when the spiders share, but they don't catch enough to feed everyone, even though maybe I caught something 3 times too large for me to eat, we will all starve. So about 21% of established social spider colonies of this species go extinct every generation, a fifth every generation. And that's because the size of the prey captured increases with colony size. So as the colonies get larger, the individual things that they capture get larger. But what they find is that actually the larger the prey, the less everyone eats. Yeah, so I don't know if this is sort of a carrying capacity thing, was where my brain went, was that, oh, okay, so this keeps us from getting, I don't know, football field-sized colonies of spiders, heaven forbid, so that, you know, if as they get larger, they have less ability to feed each other to the right amount, then that keeps them from getting too large. It controls the spider population. I don't know if that's actually what's going on, or if this is just a vital personality flaw. But it's interesting.
Don't share too much, spiders. You'll die.
Oh, I don't like that video you're sharing at all. Okay, and then my very last quick story before we head to the break is all about fireflies, which I'm sure some of you heard me go on and on and on about my recent trip to the southeast where I saw lots of fireflies and I got very excited. Well, fireflies may be affected by light pollution, which probably is not too surprising. But fireflies, both males and females make signals. They make signals to ward off predators, but they also make signals to identify one another for courtship displays. And a recent study from UVA, University of Virginia, looked at fireflies and their courtship displays in different areas of partial light, whole light, and different types of light. What they found was that LED lights really cut down on the amount of displays that females showed. So the males still flashed their lights in these LED lit areas, but the females didn't respond. And if they don't respond, then courtship does not continue. So they didn't leave the lit areas, which was their other hypothesis. They thought that they had lit areas and unlit areas. They expected to see a higher density of fireflies in the unlit areas. No, they stayed right where they were, but the males just went ahead and flashed their lights. The females did not respond. So what the other thing to keep in mind is that old street lights, like sodium lights, they actually only have lower wavelengths of light, and those don't affect the fireflies as much. But it's these LED lights that have a wide array of wavelengths of light coming out of them that the fireflies do apparently have to have appear to have a negative effect in their courtship displays with that light pollution. So if you live in an area with fireflies, use fewer lights, turn them off when you're not needing them, all that good stuff. And this is a good reminder because fireflies are something that we can study really easily, but what other animals are responding negatively to these LED porch lights that we haven't yet discovered? This is something that's very measurable and an obvious kind of cause and effect. Okay, you signal to each other with light. If we flush the area with light, you can't talk to each other. But what else is going on?
Yeah,
And we know there's noise pollution in the oceans that's causing communications between whales and dolphins and that sort of thing to get too noisy of a room to even talk to each other in.
Yeah, so I mean, we're looking at fluorescent lights, LED lights, these different frequency lights as, our energy efficiency saviors. They're going to help us use electricity, help us not harm the environment, but there are other ways that we might be harming the environment. So now it's definitely going to turn into a cost-benefit of analysis of, how much is that one porch light changing your bill or your energy consumption versus how is it affecting the fireflies in the ecosystem around your house? Where do you live? What's being affected and how much?
But I think this could be pretty easily solved. Honestly, this doesn't sound like a big problem. This sounds like
it sounds solvable for sure.
Once in a while, they'll tell you, okay, yeah, they're gonna pick up the garbage on Thursdays. You get a notice from the city. You can water your lawns on odd days or even days. You're on. And if you live in an area where there's fireflies, you'll get a thing in the mail that says, please make sure you use the old school light bulb for your front porch to help our firefly neighbors. And I think people will comply with that because fireflies is one of those things that you go, yeah, those are cool. Why would I want to mess with that? And
of course, they do serve an important ecological role as well. They feed many local predators, and then they also are really important decomposers in the system. Yeah. And they're also just cool.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing that you can tell the people with their porch light is that they're cool, right? That's all you don't. Right. But I think that should be pretty easy, and especially because those most likely to be close to an area where fireflies are in abundance are probably out in the country, and they moved out in the country not to destroy it but because they like the country environment, and they'll probably be the first to say, okay, no problem, I'll just switch a light bulb.
Yeah, old school incandescent, and I've even seen. I think I saw a story recently that people are working on. Yeah, you can still get them, but I saw a story recently that people are working on making the old school incandescent itself even more efficient. So there are people who love the incandescent and don't want to see it go the way of the dodo, so they are working on its energy saving capacities. Or at least getting it to reduce the heat that is lost.
Yeah, I think there's a happy medium here for sure.
Ed from Connecticut says you used to see lots of fireflies in Connecticut. Haven't seen any in a few years. Also haven't seen any bats in the neighborhood either. Could be connected. Yeah, if the fireflies are gone, maybe the bats migrated elsewhere.
Don't you all migrate anywhere, because you know what? We're going to come back in just a few minutes from our little short break that we take here. This is This Week in Science, and we do hope that you will stay tuned for ice worms and bird brains and more. Y'all come back now, you hear? everybody. I want to say thank you so much for following us on YouTube, for subscribing to us, for helping us reach that 10,000 subscriber goal that we were headed for. We got there, and we are continuing to climb, and it is all because of you. Thank you so much, and I hope you do enjoy finding us on YouTube and receiving our content on YouTube. We do broadcast through YouTube and Google Hangouts on air every week, so it is a large part of how we bring TWIS to the world. Hope that you do appreciate it. Thanks for subscribing. Really, really do appreciate that. TWIS also has merchandise that you might enjoy, so why don't you head on over to TWIS.org. What? You don't know TWIS.org? Well, TWIS.org is our website. TWIS.org is the fantabulous place where you go to find our podcast, to be able to see show notes. Every once in a while, we actually post videos there, announcements related to the show, and we have links to things like our Zazzle store. The Zazzle store is a place where you can go to buy our merchandise. Head over to zazzle.com/thisweekinscience, or just click the Zazzle store link at twis.org, and it'll take you to the Zazzle website, where you'll be able to peruse and purchase any number of TWIS-related products. So lots of fun things with TWIS logo, and also with Blair's original art from the 2016 Blair's Animal Corner TWIS calendar. So check it out. You might enjoy some of the stuff there, and buying it will help you and get something to wear or use that's useful, and it will help support the show. Secondarily, we do support this show on donations from listeners just like you. And really, this show is 100% listener supported at this point in time. We don't have any advertisers, and you guys are our producers. You're the ones who tell us what's important in producing TWIS. So we appreciate those donations, and you can donate either through PayPal, very easy, big donate button that you can find on the front page of TWIS, support TWIS, donate, make a donation. It takes you over to a PayPal interface in which you can use either a credit card or your PayPal information to be able to donate whatever amount you want, or even to make it a monthly recurring amount. If PayPal is not your thing, we also have Patreon. And again, that link is on our main page at twis.org. If you go to the main header bar all the way to the right, Patreon, Patreon, you can click on that, and it will take you to our Patreon page, where you will find all sorts of posts that are specifically for Patreon and Patreon sponsors, and sponsoring at specific levels will get you different gifts, different rewards for your support. However you decide you want to support us, it doesn't matter. Just your support is what keeps us going. Your support is what allows this show to keep paying the bills, to keep the equipment working, and to keep everything going. And if you can't afford a donation, subscribing to us, getting your friends to subscribe to us, leaving a review someplace like iTunes or Spreaker or SoundCloud, these things all help. They all add up. Putting up flyers, or even just telling your friends about TWIS. It all adds up, and it all helps us grow our audience, which in the end helps us grow TWIS. We couldn't do any of this without you. We thank you for your support.
Due to the juices and pills and the creams, your body's lost toxins, whatever that means. You stopped eating all of that sinister food. Your dinner tastes awful, so it's gotta be good. Still, you can't believe what a skeptic I am. I can't believe you believe in that sham. We disagree, but I still give a damn.
And we're back with more This Week in Science.
We are back, and Justin, it's your turn. What you got?
Project Iceworm. In an age gone by, though clearly still with us, the world was on the brink of a very nasty set of ideas. That somehow talking would become too tiresome, negotiation too treacherous a task, and that we might ultimately have to resort to solving all of our ideological problems and differences by ridding the planet of living things. We call this age the Cold War. And in 1960, when the scheming, plotting, planning, and frantic prepper-like precautionary primping was going on, the United States military went forward with a one-stop secret project codenamed Iceworm. The idea was to build a network of mobile nuclear missile launch sites under the Greenland ice sheet. Medium-range nukes hidden under the ice, close enough to quick strike targets within the Soviet Union. We didn't tell the Danish government who governed Greenland, let alone the Inuit people who actually live there, or very near there anyway. They did have a cover story called Camp Century, though, which claimed to be a scientific-ish project to look into the feasibility of subglacial architecture. Yes, we're going to build a facility under the ice. Won't that be cool? So, location was about 150 miles northeast of the Thule Air Force Base, 100 miles east of what is now Qaanaaq, where I once had a chance to spend a few weeks, and where this picture was taken.
Looks like Justin in a parka on an iceberg.
Yes, that's pretty much, and that's the city of Qaanaaq, which actually used to be where the Thule Air Force Base is, 100 miles to the south, but the Air Force said, we want your town, and so they forced the people to move 100 miles north, and eventually there were some reparations, but anyway, we go on. 20 feet deep, or 28 feet deep, 2 miles of tunnels were cut into the ice. Nuclear reactor was brought in. Mobile nuclear reactor provided power for amenities such as shops, movie theaters, and even a hospital. Water, of course, was all around them, but shortly after moving in, it became clear to the scientists who were there studying what could possibly go wrong, that things were going to go wrong. The glacier wasn't going to remain a stable ice fort for very long. And as they predicted only a few years before the ice would degrade the proposed launch tubes into unusable states. Despite looking solid, these ice cap is constantly in motion, slowly spreading outward from the center. The spreading movement causes the tunnels and trenches to narrow, walls to deform, bulge, eventually leading to a collapse of the ceiling in some areas. And by mid-1962, the ceiling of the reactor room, where this mobile nuclear reactor, which, by the way, this is 1960s technology, mobile reactor. Think of all the problems we've had with those that aren't mobile in the modern age. Anywho, the ceiling had started to drop, and they lifted it 5 feet, and soon, anyway, they abandoned the base. Forget it. This is a bad idea. With all the pesky waste that was there, though, they thought that might be too troublesome to take with them. And now that the ice that entombed the waste is melting it free, including sewage, diesel fuel, persistent organic pollutants, PCBs, and of course radiological waste from the nuclear generator. It's all still there. Current efforts to remove the toxins are non-existent, and the threat is right in the backyard of the people who already had to move once. Very nice. And if you've heard me talk about this on the show before too, these are the nicest, kindest group of people who I've ever met in my entire life. The village of Qaanaaq, it's only about 600 people total, I think, if even that, but it's like one big family there. So this is one example of an unforeseen problem with global warming. Also, there's all sorts of other things in there. But it also sort of reminds me of what's going on in Russia right now. Russia right now, they're having an outbreak of anthrax. So anthrax previously had killed millions of caribou.
Yeah.
And they dealt with it by killing off caribou and burying them in the tundra. Now, they didn't bury them deep because it's hard to dig deeply into the tundra, especially when you've been tasked with burying diseased caribou and you just want to go home really badly, right? And so currently there's a few thousand caribou that have died from this recent outbreak. And what's sort of also interesting, there's also mass burial sites in Alaska that were from I think it was the Spanish flu outbreak, right? So this is we're starting to see all these things that we thought, you bury it in the ice somewhere up north, it'll never come out again, right?
Ha 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 ha.
That's a problem for tomorrow.
That's tomorrow, guys' problem. Well, tomorrow is today. It's our problem. Although they're staying still, it's possible because there's snowfall and all these other excuses. They might not have to deal with the ice worm project problem right away. Although
Maybe not today, maybe not
but
tomorrow,
But
Denmark is a
soon.
little.
Yeah.
Right.
So Justin,
But-
Justin, is this a science news story or is this your screenplay? Because
Oh yeah, it could.
this is
right?
sounding very much like a summer blockbuster film.
It
It
does,
could be,
right?
This is
The ice
well,
is
but
melting.
It's
What
already.
are we
I mean,
going to do?
Ice
Look at-
Worm
at
coming
where
to
they
theaters
found the,
next summer.
Look at where they found in the X-Files movie, right? This is they had this spaceship was buried in the Greenland tundra. Well, no, you don't even have to wait for the aliens to come back for it. It just might melt free again, right? So slightly staying on the tangent though of the Cold War, this is also in the news this week. They revealed that in May of 1967, the U.S. Air Force was preparing aircraft to engage for war, for a nuclear strike, they thought that the nation's surveillance radars in the polar regions were being jammed by the Soviet Union. Suddenly, all of
Right.
our eyes looking for missiles went dark. Everything stopped working. We went, oh my gosh, they figured out a way to jam our radar, and now they must be attacking. That's the only explanation. But thankfully, military space weather forecasters conveyed information that they had just sort of deduced about the sun, which is that solar storms, solar flares, have a potential to disrupt radar and radio communications. Therefore, the planes remained on the ground. The U.S. avoided potentially nuclear weapon exchange with the Soviet Union, thanks to scientists who were looking at the sun. So, yay,
Thank you,
science.
solar scientists, for helping us avert nuclear war. That's good. That's the whole thing, is like, you can't only have one set of eyes. Is radar your only set of eyes? Is that how it works? Is that, you need to have multiple sets of eyes.
Yeah.
And this is why when we look at things in space, we don't just look at them in one spectrum. We try and look at them across as many spectra as possible, because one set of eyes is not all the information and can potentially be disrupted.
Yeah, and
easily.
staying for another second or two here on this Cold War era mentality. So we're talking about a nuclear or potential nuclear base that just had a nuclear mobile reactor in it, and they left the waste behind, thinking it's solid, it's frozen, it won't go anywhere. You look at the way they dealt with anthrax outbreaks in Russia, the Spanish flu in Alaska, and you also then have to think, what don't we know? How many biological weapons have we decided, or waste have we decided we could easily hide and discard? I mean, to the Russians, it must have been, with all of the ice and tundra at their immediate disposal, been a pretty easy solution to deal with a lot of problems. Just put it in the ice, it'll be there forever, right? The U.S. doesn't have as much direct access, but who knows what else we did to Greenland under the nose of the Danes and the Inuits, and what have the Canadians done? Well, probably not much, but at least, and then there's Alaska. So as this global warming thing happens, as the thaw takes place, we may start to uncover a lot of skeletons in our dubious past.
Which is great, because we don't have enough. We need more skeletons. That's fantastic.
But these ones are these ones sound like major vectors for
Maybe they'd be
diseases. That we're probably done with.
trouble. Yeah. Watch out for anthrax, everyone.
Oh, the methane and the
Going
it's
across
gonna be
Going across the tundra. Just beware of the anthrax. So I've got a fun story. I kind of wanted to bring this one because last week we talked at length during the Blair's Animal Corner about the kind of anecdotal stories about the orangutan who was helping us learn about language development, and Coco, the gorilla, versus Kanzi, the chimpanzee, and these like single individuals who have been used as, because they maybe are exemplary and extraordinary for their species and their abilities. They have stood out also for humans trying to understand more about animals, animal behavior, and ourselves. Betty the Crow is another one of these standout exemplars. Betty, the New Caledonian crow.
Mm-hmm.
A few years back, 2014-ish, a study came out in which Betty just took these wires. These New Caledonian crows are known for tool making, for using things and making particular tools. But at the time, all they knew is that the crows could shape stiff or flexible twigs into tools that had kind of a barb-like hook, like a fishing hook at one end. And they used those to get grubs out of trees, stick them in and try and pull the grubs out. And then Betty came along. And Betty fashioned a hook from a material she had never encountered before, not a twig that she'd seen previously. It was a brand new material, so this was an innovation. She's like, oh, novel material. Let's see if it does this thing. And it had never been observed in the wild for them to pick up any other kinds of materials. And she knew what kind of shape to make to be able to solve the puzzle that she had been given for this particular study. She was the only crow that really did it of the multiple crows they looked at. And so Betty made a splash as like the evidence that New Caledonian crows, at least, had the possibility of innovative cognitive thought, that they could come up with these new ideas on the fly based on the challenge in front of them and the materials at hand, kind of like a primate or a human. This really, really implied advanced thought. But yet again, it was only one bird. And so a researcher, Christian Roots, who's a behavioral ecologist at the University of St. Andrews in the United Kingdom, has spent 4 years studying 18 wild-caught crows that were kept in aviaries on New Caledonia temporarily. They caught them in the wild, put them in the aviaries so they could test them in controlled conditions. And they made videos of the animals doing all their work, and the animals, these birds, made 85 of their twig tools. And most of the crows followed just the standard method. 10 of these 18 birds, however, bent the tool by curving it or sticking it and pulling it. Is very similar to what Betty did. So the researcher was like, whoa, this is what Betty did. And there's 10 more crows who just did what Betty did. So it maybe wasn't just, this is surprising, but maybe it wasn't like Betty innovating on the fly. Maybe it was a behavioral pattern that, given the right material, the birds tend to use. And so this postdoc says, we now think that they bend their tools to get them ready to use. Bending is thus part of their natural repertoire.
Yeah. I hear that. I also just see several crows finding a similar solution to a similar problem.
Yeah.
So how do you know the difference? How do you know the difference between something that is an innate natural behavior, something that is the easiest way to solve a problem, and these animals are really smart, so they find the easiest way to solve the problem, or whether they are doing the same innovation several times in a row? I feel like it's probably not the last one. It's probably not a miracle random event that has happened several times. But I also feel like there's a good chance that, given a similar challenge in order to get your food, a curved tool is the best way to get your food in that case. And so if they bend it, no matter what kind of thing it is that they're bending, that doesn't, to me, make it less awe-inspiring. It makes it more amazing to me, because it shows that Betty wasn't a fluke. It shows that these crows know how to solve a problem presented to them, and that they can use that these crows have the same kind of logic-based solution building going on.
Right. And so I guess the question is to determine whether or not it is logic-based solution building or a hardwired
Right.
response. And that's what this study does not determine. Franz de Waal, who was interviewed for this, says that his response is that not all the wild crows in the study bent their tools, which suggests it's not hardwired, and that was more likely to be novel, because it was only 10 out of the 18, not all of them. They were all given the same controlled situations, yet not all of them did it. So the other question is, did 10 of them have an opportunity to learn something that the other 8 did not? Was it a learning during development kind of situation? And then Nathan Emery from Queen Mary University of London says that this really leaves open the question, that, this was significant that Betty did this, but did the bird have a hook in mind when it was creating it?
Oh, great question.
That question is wide open. We don't know if that was was the bird picturing, I need a hook.
How would you even know? How would you even know the answer to that?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we've reported on other stories where crows have picked the right tool by looking at them or assessing what they're made out of, or all these different things. So I don't doubt that presented with a stick or a hook, they would still pick the hook. But the question is, do they make a hook saying, I need a hook?
Right.
Wow, how would you even test that?
This requires a hook. This does not. Yeah.
I think you could do it by doing a sort of another version of the thing, just like you said, where you provide the hook. Provide the hook to some, don't provide it to others, and see if the others make the hook, right? Or if they try multiple tools before turning to the hook and finding success, versus going after the hook first and going, oh, that's the thing that works. If they tend to go for the hook when it's already provided first with a selection of different tools to maybe pick from, and they tend to fashion the hook, I think then you're saying, then they're making the hook with the hook in mind. They
really want the hook.
Now, this isn't this week in designing new experiments, but what I would do is teach a crow how to use a touch screen so that whatever tool they drew or the shape of tool they drew with their beak is what they get. And then, because then they would make a hook shape and get a hook.
Or maybe just tap on a hook shape where you offer it a shape.
Yeah.
Associate the shape with.
How is that different than
what
just
they get.
picking the hook tool? I like mine better. Mine's more simple.
Because one is
cognitive. It's a cognitive separation.
Yes.
It's looking at a picture, which is just an image, which is just a representation, and taking a representation to actualization. If I click on a hook picture, which doesn't mean anything really, but once the bird learns that they're going to get a hook, then you know that they can recognize it and that they are specifically looking for a hook, as opposed to
same experiment,
just picking it out of a bird.
Little bit simpler. You have little box or latch lids with a picture of a hook or other tools that aren't hooks. And if it goes into that one to grab the hook out, it saw the hook on the picture on the outside of the box and then went in and grabbed the tool. You don't have to teach it to text. That's unnecessary. We don't need to use too much technology in these experiments. Just a little box lid that has the picture of the hook. Then would that satisfy the conceptual to the choosing?
I still like Kiki's and mine better.
You're just trying to get a free iPad out of this experiment.
Justin, do you have another story?
I do. Okay, so this is a story that begins in a drainage ditch in South Carolina. Actually, it begins before that. 27 million years before, when a previously unknown species of whale died there. Echovenator sandersii was found with a complete fossilized ear. And by CT scanning the ear, they can tell that the whale had high-frequency hearing. Quote voice, our study suggests that high-frequency hearing may have preceded the emergence of echolocation, says Morgan Churchill, New York Institute of Technology. So they CT scanned the whale's ear, compared it to those of hippos and 23 fossil and living whales. Those analyses uncovered many features found in today's dolphins, which can hear ultrasonic frequencies. It also suggests that the evolutionary ancestors of toothed whales could hear at higher frequencies than their relatives who were on land at the time. Churchill says that the inner ear of Echovenator is surprisingly similar to that of modern whales, with only a few aspects that could be considered primitive in comparison. So that the hearing of these whales 27 million years ago was already quite advanced. It's also remarkable in other ways, Churchill notes. The whale was small compared to its ancestors, suggesting a drastic change in body size early in toothed whale evolution that most likely influenced a range of variables from brain size to ecology. This is just one, though, of many fossil whales from the South Carolina ditch. I guess that they were excavating to do something with, found fossils, had to call in the scientists, and now the ditch, I guess, drainage ditch needed to be moved. But this is only one of many whale fossils that they found here, so they're still processing them. More to come.
That is cool.
That whale he does look very dolphin-like. Really.
Looks very dolphin-like.
If you just show me that, I'd just say that's a dolphin. I wouldn't even call it a whale, based on the artist's representation.
But it is interesting that it still uses a similar technique of vibrating through or going through, being conducted through the jawbone to where it's then vibrating the inner ear. It's like the way that they're trying. What is it? The jawbone, the jawbone hearing thing for phones and stuff, where it's supposed to not get a lot of extra sound, and it's supposed to just vibrate through your jaw so that you don't. It's just hearing in your head. No, yeah, it's an earphone kind of thing you could use. Yeah. That's cool. That's a neat finding. In a ditch. Well, it's a big ditch.
And they also state that just because of how advanced the ear already is in comparison in relation to maybe what they thought it would be at that point, or what the rest of the whale looks like, that this ability to hear is dates before this 27 million year time. Like this is an older. They say it's older than even perhaps toothed whales. That we are somewhat accustomed to that.
So this kind of like this using sonar, high frequency hearing, and possibly using sonar to be able to find prey.
High frequency hearing, they think it would predate that.
Predate
ability.
the sonar, yeah.
Yeah. So very, very advanced whales. So whales have been at it for, my goodness, 27 million years of being whales.
And this one is called Echovenator.
Yes.
And we've only been being modern humans, for a couple 100,000.
Yep.
Something to be said for the longevity thing, being on the planet.
Yeah. Speaking of things that were kind of on the planet for a second, or we thought they were, but now they're not. I have the triple threat of physics letdowns.
Wah, 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 wah.
That's exactly it. So last year, researchers at the Large Hadron Collider at CERN announced that, we've got signals for a possible particle. Could be the graviton.
We don't know what this is, but it's unsuspected. It's a fantastic new direction in science. Oh my gosh, this is the kind of thing we've been looking for, but we didn't expect to find, but there it is anyway.
Yeah, so the way that they look, just to go back on this a little bit, is that their search, because they have so much data to go through, is motivated by theoretical ideas. And so last December, there was a hypothesis about gravitons, suggesting a way in which they would decay, producing 2 high-energy photons. And so ATLAS and CMS detectors looked through their data for collisions that produced 2 photons. and then compared their numbers to predictions, all based on the standard model. And so they turned up an apparent excess at 750 giga-electron volts, and it showed up in data from ATLAS and CMS. But it wasn't significant. It was promising, but not significant. And so they didn't have all sorts of data. They only had less than 4 inverse femtobarns of data. And they added another 12.9 inverse femtobarns to the analysis since that original moment. So this is a lot of data. They're just dumping in massive amounts of data. And this new data, that little bump that isn't.
Nah.
So the CMS detectors team says no significant excess is observed over the standard model predictions. And so this doesn't necessarily mean that a graviton doesn't exist. It just means that this particular predicted graviton at this particular place does not exist.
Well, was it predicted to be at this place? I didn't know it was predicted.
No, it wasn't.
I think they got the blip and then were like,
oh, this could be it.
Like many papers about what would explain that blip being there and how it could fit into the picture. Back engineering, if that thing actually exists, why is it there? What is it doing? What could it be?
But it's not there anyway, so
all those papers are going to have to go back onto the stack until they find a blip somewhere else, and then they can go, why is that there, and what's it doing?
And basically pull out those old papers, rewrite them again for this new blip, and there you go. Second kind of story of what was but isn't, there is a lot of lithium-7 around. There's a lot more lithium-7 than lithium-6 in the universe. And so the question is whether or not the estimates are wrong or whether there's a discrepancy, because based on physics and the way things work and primordial atomic formation and stuff, they should be pretty similar fractions. We shouldn't have such a disparity between them. The Omega Laser Facility, which is this wonderful laser facility that has a laser that produces 17 kilojoules of energy in 10 to the minus 12 seconds, 600 picoseconds. And so it's about 28 terawatts of power in the laser. And they smashed hydrogen and helium together, kind of trying to simulate the Big Bang conditions. And the plasma has this temperature and conditions that are similar during the Big Bang nucleosynthesis phase, which would be the phase of the Big Bang in which things were starting to cool down and atoms were starting to smash into each other, nucleus were formed, and you start having atomic formation. And so tritium and helium ions fuse to form lithium. And they found that there was not enough lithium. That their experiment, that basically standard physics, based on their measurements, standard physics cannot account for the total amount of lithium that we observe here and now in the universe. I mean, maybe we're estimating it incorrectly, according to Ars Technica, but yeah. Physical review letters paper, and it's very possible that right here in this one particular place, the standard model of physics breaks down with the atomic formation of lithium.
And it may be just the standard model is probably not broken, but there's probably something in the process that took place during that created a buffer that utilized some of the components of the building blocks to do something else and go a little bit in a different direction. But the fact that we don't know
but they should have been able.
fantastic.
They should have been able to measure that stuff in their experiment, but it was kind of messy, so maybe they didn't.
This is a messy early universe, and there's temperatures and pressures and forces and things going on. I'm sure with a little bit more time and effort, this puzzle will be solved. Of course, all of
The,
them.
the lithium mystery will be solved. And finally, the last dash, the last blow of my show to hopes of physics beyond the standard model. So it's like, okay, we have standard model being upheld at CERN. We have the Omega Laser Facility questioning the standard model because of lithium. But standard model is once again being upheld by the Ice Cube neutrino experiment, neutrino observatory experiment in Antarctica. The world's most powerful neutrino observatory observes all sorts of neutrinos zipping through. And if they were to see a strange neutrino that didn't quite act like the three predicted by the standard model, maybe it might see a sterile neutrino. Sterile neutrinos have mass, but they interact via gravity as opposed to the weak force. Other neutrinos interact via the weak force, and so they don't really interact. We have, in the time that I'm talking right now, there are like hundreds of thousands of neutrinos shooting through me.
Ah!
Yeah!
Get your tinfoil hat.
But because I'm made of matter, massive forces, they don't really interact that much. They really don't interact with us. That we are nothing to them. It's like we are these transparent sheets. It's like air. It's like throwing a ball through air.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. We're not even there. However, sterile neutrinos, they would react even less because they interact through gravity, and we're not that, we're not hugely gravitational, and we have all these cells that make us up. But anyway, Ice Cube figured out a way that it could be used to try and detect sterile neutrinos. And they looked 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 and they looked. And they were like, please, can we find some sterile neutrinos? Because really, it would solve a few questions about ambiguity about neutrinos that have been observed over the last 30 years. And that would be really cool. But, no. No sterile neutrinos found by the Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory.
Is this something though? Like we were looking for gravity waves and not finding it for a long time, long time. Is this something that they think, well, we just need to be able to take a better look for them, or is it more like, this is where they should have shown up for pretty darn sure? Otherwise, they don't exist.
No, there's a wonderful video that's available from the NSF and the Ice Cube experimenters, and they interview a few of them, and they make some interesting comments on that. But the take home is that this helps to tighten up the boundaries of where the sterile neutrino could be found, if it will be found. And so we had certain boundaries posed by the Neutrino Observatory based on their confines and their limitations. No finding. So now the next set of experiments or the next set of analyses will be based on these findings, narrowing it down. And every time we don't find them, it'll make our hope for them be even less, because sterile neutrinos are not predicted by the standard model. They are something that are outside of the standard model, and if we were to find them, then that would potentially open an interesting Pandora's box of new physics for physicists to be excited about.
We've been really trying hard to open that box.
So hard.
The lid is very heavy.
It's been really interesting, actually, like watching this kind of push by physicists going, yeah, new physics, Higgs boson, yeah, whatever, we're going to find this, and we're going to find this other thing, and we'll find the Higgs boson, but we're going to find this other thing, and we're going to find that, blah, blah, blah. And they haven't. And it's been, it's just been a few years now, and of course science is going to be, this kind of science is big science, and so it's like decades in the making. It's going to be centuries in the making, but to really understand it. But it's just, interesting watching this back and forth of the scientists really wanting something more than the standard model and hoping that there's something more than what they've already discovered, something more than the predictions that are already there.
You could also look at it as just as thoroughly vetting.
Yeah, there's that.
The idea that we're running with at the moment. The more we discover that the fringes of the theory are staying pat and holding solid, then science isn't just about discovering a new thing. It's about disproving other possibilities.
Yeah. Hey, Blair, you got a story?
Yeah. What if I told you that you could figure out what animals were living in a body of water by testing the water and looking for eDNA?
What is eDNA?
Environmental DNA. Yeah, so a new study from James Cook University and Charles Darwin University are using cutting-edge eDNA techniques to look for critically endangered large-toothed sawfish in remote northern Australia. So after testing water in a lab where certain bodies of water had the sawfish in them and certain bodies of water did not, they were able to detect trace amounts of this animal's DNA in the water where those animals were living, and then they were able to take that out into the world and successfully find out which bodies of water had sawfish living in them by testing just the water for sawfish DNA.
That's clever.
This is why I need to worry about my hair falling out and like flying out the car window.
Huh?
Yeah, because they can clone you just from...
They'll be able to find my hair in a gutter.
Yeah, so for
Kiki lives in this gutter.
That's right. For a endangered animal that lives potentially all over the planet, and we don't know where they live or what areas to protect, being able to test eDNA to track these animals globally could help them. But I do think that this technology probably has a lot of potential outside of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a quick one. The X Prize, which we know for offering cash prizes, cash money for so many large feats of technology. They have partnered with IBM's Watson for a new open source kind of competition, which is going to pit international groups against one another to develop and demonstrate how humans can collaborate with powerful AI technologies to tackle the world's grand challenges. And interestingly, there's really no rules to the study yet. There being an open source, or not study, but challenge being open source. They are asking the teams that enter to develop their own goals and their own rules and to set their own bars for judging, which is an interesting way to go about this. What do you think? I don't know. Oh, and it's a $5 million prize. It's not a little one. I think going to the moon is much less than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think going to the moon has a less expensive prize.
But which is more terrifying or beneficial? Both, either, neither.
Yeah, I mean, when I hear about stuff like this, there's part of me that gets very excited, and I'm like, yes, AI, it's going to help us solve so many data-related problems related to climate change, related to poverty, related to education, so many things that we stress about and we worry about. I mean, if we could get AI technology to help us work out the kinks on so many things where our human viewpoints are not able to get past certain biases, it would be amazing. But then, yeah, but then there's it's AI, and if it gets programmed even slightly wrong, with even the slight a little wrong instruction in there somewhere, and it could lead to human destruction.
So first, I'll tell you though, the first human destruction that's going to take place from this AI is going to be, you know what? We were going to hire a few thousand scientists to work on this big physics project, but the AI is actually now capable of looking at this without having to hire them. We might hire one or two just to do some sort of checking of the work and that sort of thing. But we now are doing this project where we're going to test all of the oceans waters in search of these rare fish. Based on, right, with the e-test, right? But actually to analyze it and even go out into the field and do the testing, we've got these little submersibles, and we've got an AI that can, I mean. Warning to scientists: this is your livelihood. I mean, this is why we have people in fields still picking fruit. It's because they haven't trained a robot to do it yet. So beware. This is.
Or will this make it better because you'll be able to do 5 years of PhD research in a summer because a robot doesn't have to sleep or eat?
Right. Somebody will be able to do that. But again, all of the researchers and the undergrads who got to cut their teeth doing science working on this project.
It's just a new tool.
I'm just saying, once they don't need as many people to actually work in science, there'll be less people actually working in science, and that's going to dumb down our general population.
Or it'll make it more accessible.
It'll be,
it could make it more accessible.
I was thinking about becoming a scientist or maybe going into VCR repair. Of course, typewriters can get jammed, so I thought I might work on that too. This is just, don't get yourself obsolete. Don't allow this to happen.
So I was wrong. The Google Lunar X Prize is $30 million. Well, this one is 5. So the Lunar X Prize was more. I was wrong. Justin, any more stories?
I'm good.
You're good. Blair, you all tapped out?
I'm all tapped out.
All right, you guys. We have done it. We have finished another episode of This Week in Science. Thank you so much for listening, staying with us. I'd like to take this moment to thank our Patreon sponsors. Thank you to Chris Clark, Paul Disney, Dave Friedel, John Ratnaswamy, Richard Onemus, Byron Lee, E.O., Jared Lysette, Ulysses Adkins, Kevin Parachan, Keith Corsell, Jake Jones, Eric Schwab, Patrick Combe, Bob Calder, Mark Mazzaros, Ed Dyer, Trainer84, Edvardis Rumkus, Brian Hedrick, Cassie Lester, Sarah Chavez, Layla, Marshall Clark, Charlene Hedry, Dom Kamarechka, Larry Garcia, Randy Mazuka, Tony Steele, Steve DeBell, Haroon Sarang, Melissa Mosley, Alex Wilson, Jason Schneiderman, Rudy Garcia, Greg Guthman, Dave Neighbor, Jason Dozier, Matthew Litwin, Eric Knapp, Jason Roberts, Craig Landon, Daryl Lambert, Rodney, David Wiley, Robert Aston, Orly Radio, Brian Condren, Pixelfly, Marked, Nathan Greco, Hexator, Deborah Smith, Mitch Neves, Flying Out, John Crocker, Richard Porter, Christopher Dreyer, Ben Rothwig, Sylvan Westby, Artyom Shuwata, Dave Wilkinson, Steve Mashinsky, Rick Ramos, Garion Swimsberg, Phil Nadeau, Braxton Howard, Sal Good Sam, Matt Sutter, Emma Grenier, Philip Shane, James Dobson, Kurt Larson, Stefan Insom, Michael George, Russell Jensen, Mountain Sloth, Jim DePoe, Tara Payne, John Maloney, Jason Olds, James, Paul West, Alec Doty, Aluma Lama, Joe Wheeler, Dougal Campbell, Craig Porter, Adam Mishkan, Aaron Luthen, Marjorie, Paul Stanton, David Simmerly, Tyler Harrison, and Columbo Ahmed. Thank you for all your support on Patreon. If you are interested in supporting us, you can find information at patreon.com/thisweekinscience. Also, remember that you can help us out simply by telling your friends about TWIS. It is that easy. On next week's show, we will be back once again with more science coming your way, and we will be broadcasting live online at 8 p.m. Pacific time on twis.org/live, where you can watch and join our chat room. But don't worry if you can't make it. You can find our past episodes at twis.org/YouTube or twis.org.
Yes, thank you for enjoying the show. TWIS is also, of course, available as a podcast. Just Google This Week in Science in your iTunes directory, or if you have one of those mobile-type devices like a phone, for instance, and it's an Android, you can look for TWIS 4, that's TWIS, T-W-I-S, the number 4, Droid app in the Android marketplace, or simply This Week in Science in anything Apple Marketplace-y.
For more information on anything you've heard here today, show notes will be available on our website. That's at www.twis.org, where you can also make comments and start conversations with the hosts as well as other listeners.
Or you can contact us directly. Email Kirsten at kirsten@thisweekinscience.com, Justin at twistminion@gmail.com, or Blair at blairbaz@twis.org. Just be sure to put TWIS, TWIS, somewhere in the subject line, or your email will be spam filtered into oblivion. You can also hit us up on the Twitter, where we are at TWIS Science. That's TWIS with this, and then CIENCE. We couldn't figure out whether or not to put two S's in there. It was sort of TWIS Science, at Dr. Kiki, at Jackson Fly, and at Blair's Menagerie. We love your feedback. If there's a topic you'd like us to cover or address, a suggestion for an interview, a haiku that came to you in the night, please let us know.
We'll be back here next week, and we hope you'll join us again for more great science news.
And if you have learned anything from today's show, remember,
It's all in your head.
This week in science. This week in science. This week in science. This week in science, it's the end of the world. So I'm setting up shop, got my banner unfurled. It says the scientist is in, I'm gonna sell my advice. Show them how to stop the robots with a simple device. I'll reverse global warming with a wave of my hand. And all it'll cost you is a couple of grand. This week's science is coming your way. So everybody listen to what I say. I use the scientific method for all that it's worth, and I'll broadcast my opinion all over the earth. Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 I've got one disclaimer, and it shouldn't be news, that what I say may not represent your views, but I've done the calculations and I've got a plan. If you listen to the science, you may just yet understand that we're not trying to threaten your philosophy. We're just trying to save the world from jeopardy. Jeopardy. And This Week in Science is coming your way. So everybody listen to everything we say. And if you use our method instead of rolling a die, we may rid the world of toxoplasma gondii. Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 I've got a laundry list of items I want to address, from stopping global hunger to dredging Loch Ness. I'm trying to promote more rational thought, and I'll try to answer any question you've got. But how can I ever see the changes I seek when I can only set up shop 1 hour a week? This Week in Science is coming your way. You better just listen to what we say. And if you've learned anything from the words that we've said, then please just remember it's all in your head. Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in 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 Science.
That officially means that we're in the post show. Maybe it's time for more sunglasses. Maybe it's time for more sunglasses. Yeah, more sunglasses, just like Justin. I have one more pair. These aren't mine, but I have one more pair. Tomorrow.
Do you really want to have a sunglass fight with me right now?
We're sunglass fighting. Man, don't even get me into this sunglass fight.
Oh my god, I have multiple pairs of my old glasses. I don't even need sunglasses. Look, I'm wearing 3 pairs of prescription glasses right now. Are you ready?
Oh my god. Seriously.
Look at all my prescription glasses.
How old are you?
How old am I? Old enough to have many pairs of prescription
I have a flower too. Look, I have a flower. That's pretty. Sunglasses and a flower. You young whippersnappers. I know, I look like a spider, right? 8-eyed spider. Ha ha ha. Thanks, Whiskey Renegade. I think we did a good job picking our stories this week. There were good stories to choose.
Oh my god, I have so many more, but they're not directly reachable by me.
I have
They're
another.
in my sunglasses drawer. You don't even know.
I know. We have sunglasses downstairs. We have so many sunglasses downstairs. Hi.
Oh my god. Well, these are actually, hold on, I have to keep track of this. These are my actual prescription sunglasses currently, so I have to take care of them.
Take care of your glasses. The prescription ones are important.
I had for a hot second before my current pair.
There you go.
They're okay.
These ones are very large.
Can you even tell that they're not that different from the ones that I was wearing?
Can you see?
Yeah, the problem is I found out. So when you have a bad astigmatism, as I do, big lenses like this actually cause you to feel super like dizzy. So I kept thinking I had the wrong prescription.
Maybe I have an astigmatism.
And then it turns out I just had too large of a frame.
Just wearing sunglasses makes me feel weird. Do you ever have that problem? I mean, you wear glasses all the time. Yeah, I have a weird thing. I put on sunglasses and I'm like, whoa. Yeah. Like I feel unsafe driving a vehicle when I wear sunglasses. I only wear sunglasses if the sun is absolutely in my face and I can't help it. Because sunglasses make me feel weird. I don't like it. You like my flower?
I do like your flower.
It's my Nomi light. Nomi lights. I don't think the light works in it anymore, but it's got an LED bulb in the middle of it. Little flickering LED light that flickers. Or at least it used to. It needs a new battery. Ow, ow, ow. What are you doing?
My glasses ate my hair.
Okay, what's going on, chat room? Who else with us?
You guys, I went to where dinosaurs live.
You did. So tell me about this theme park fun ride you went on. I mean, a car adventure through Northern California.
I did. We drove. So first we went to, we went to Fort Bragg, and then, on our way to Fort Bragg, we stopped at the rock stop. We looked at rocks. Nice. Then we went to Fort Bragg, and then we drove to Ferndale. Ferndale was lovely. Ferndale is
fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
the westernmost. We stayed in the westernmost hotel in the United States, in the continental
The
United
continental.
States.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we stayed there, and then we went to Papa Joe's Diner for breakfast.
Nice.
Things move very slowly in Ferndale. It took us like an hour to get our eggs. They were just kind of like meandering along, just the way things go in Ferndale.
I want to live someplace and have a life where nothing is ever a rush.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Nice.
And then we drove, to Prairie. What's it called? Prairie Creek Open Space Preserve, and went to Fern Canyon, and it was magical. And then we went to Patrick's Point State Park and looked for agates, and I found an agate on the agate beach. And then we went to a gem and mineral museum. And then we went, I'm getting my days mixed up. We went to the Malele Dunes, which is in Samoa. And we stayed just outside of Arcata. Went to Lost Coast Brewing Company for dinner. Delicious. I got the sampler. And then the last day, we went to Humboldt Bay Wildlife Refuge, which was really cool. It was a giant slough that you could walk around.
I don't know that I've ever been to that.
Yeah, and then we went, on the way up, we went to Confusion Hill. I forgot to mention that, the home of the Chippelope.
Yeah, that's a fun little tourist trap. I like that spot.
Yes, although my friends didn't want to go in the Gravity House, so we ended up going in the Gravity House.
Oh, why not? That's
I
like
know, I'm so frustrated. I wanted to go.
Why
They
do
were
you
like,
want to go?
You have to pay like an extra $10 or something.
Yeah, and they said, we went to the mystery spot in Santa Cruz. It's basically the same. And I was like, but I haven't. Can I go? And they're like, you can go. We'll wait in the car. And I was like, fine, I will go.
Oh, you should have done it.
I'll go to the one in Santa Cruz. But I did check out all the Chippelope merchandise. And then I went, I have a Chippelope postcard, actually. But the last day, we went to the Wildlife Refuge. We went to the Rock and Mineral Museum. And what am I forgetting? We... Avenue of the Giants. That's what we did.
Yeah, with the redwoods.
Yes. Look,
Look
a
at the
Chippelope. Chippelope.
Oh, Chippelope.
Yes.
It's so cute.
They're all over up there.
You just have to-
amazing.
Yeah, you just have to be sure. You have to really be careful that you, don't try and feed them by hand because, you can get nasty bites.
Unlike hitting
those
a regular
things.
chipmunk kind of thing on the road, these ones can actually puncture tires because the
You got to be careful of those antlers.
danger up there.
Yeah. Got to be careful of the antlers.
So I have some official news.
Okay.
We're going to Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh my gosh, how exciting!
Yeah, beginning of November. November 4th, I believe, is the date. We will be broadcasting live from Baltimore, Maryland, in the Maryland STEM Festival.
Nice.
It's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Cool.
I know, right?
So our show's on the 4th.
Well, let me check the dates. What did I email? So the festival runs from November 4th through 13th.
And we're kicking it off, so we must
And I believe, we are officially a go. That's the email I got from them. So November 4th is when we will do it. So I assume that... are
we still going to do a TWIS on the 2nd?
Good question.
I don't know. I mean, that might be pushing it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, if Goldazator were here, Towel Man is in the room. Towel Man was dancing for me. The naked husband. Let's see. So I sent him an email. Yeah, November 4th. And yeah, so we will probably fly in on the 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
And then leave on the 5th or 6th, depending on, what day's hotel they're able to get us comped and whether, we stay with somebody to stay an additional day or whatever.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But basically, yeah.
Cool,
Put it into calendar.
All right.
It's in there. I gotta request my days.
Request your days off of work.
Yeah.
Everybody, November 3rd is the Baltimore Whiskey Festival. Well, let's make sure that we leave early on the morning of November 3rd so that we can get in there for the evening.
Have that be part of it.
Yeah. I couldn't miss a whiskey festival. That'd be great. Although it might not be good timing for me.
Yeah, you don't want to be hungover.
We work in the next day. Yeah.
Actually, I think that might benefit. This is my 2 cents.
Coolio.
Yeah, so everybody in the chat room right now, if you are around the Maryland area, if you know people in the Maryland area, let them know. We're going to be putting the word out, starting to put it out soon. And yeah, we're going to be heading across the country in a couple of months.
That's very exciting.
Maryland, here we come. Maryland, here we come. We're gonna bring the science. Yeah, science.
Excited.
Yeah, and we will. Oh yes, we will be, as far as I know, broadcasting from the National Aquarium.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes, which will be awesome.
Yes. Hoorah.
Yeah.
Rover Desk says we should do a double show on October 28th.
Double show. What?
And then have the second covered.
It's not a bad idea, actually. That's pretty good.
Wait, what? The 26th?
That's a pretty good suggestion. I like it.
Oh, Halloween's on the 31st. It's on a Monday. That's a bummer.
That is a bummer.
It's always so hard for trick-or-treating with the kids.
Mm-hmm. Or for other things.
I like weekend trick-or-treating. Come on. I think Halloween should be just a floating holiday that's always like on Saturday at the end of October.
Yeah, agreed.
I think it should just kind of sit there. I think we should move it.
It's going to be a Monday?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Garbage.
Right.
See, I hate that because then some people dress up like Friday, some people dress up Saturday, some people dress up Sunday.
And then you're like, what day? If it's Monday, then I guess I'm dressing up for work today. But I just dressed up all weekend for parties. And do I have to wear this costume again?
And then you're like, for me, if you have an unconventional work schedule, do I wear it to work on Saturday?
Right.
Because people will be showing up at the zoo in costume. And then I have Mondays off, so then am I going to things dressed? When are there parties? It's all very
complicated.
It
I
is
think the parties will probably take place the weekend preceding that Monday.
Yes. Fridays or Saturdays, but which one?
Probably both, and even Sunday as well, if you look hard enough. It'll be okay.
Yeah, Ed from Connecticut. Patrick lives in Baltimore. I know. That's exciting. I also have another friend who is a beatboxer, Shotake, who's amazing, who lives in Baltimore. So hopefully he's around that week.
I have a friend who
That's
works for the
cool.
Pentagon who lives in Baltimore.
I'm sure we have to got to tell all our Baltimore people.
Ah.
Let them know what's going on. It's a STEM festival in Baltimore, and we will be there.
Mm-hmm.
And if we ever play Kana,
Yeah.
100 miles north of the Thule Air Force Base, I think I still know a few anyways. We're drinking buddies.
Yeah, and not just Baltimore. Baltimore is close to places like
Mhm.
like Washington, D.C.,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Let's go to the National Zoo. It's free.
yeah, if we could get there. Let's see. Yeah,
Take a train.
yeah. Yeah, Ulysses is in West Virginia?
Virginia. One of the
Virginia.
Virginies.
Yeah. And I know there are people in Washington, D.C. So, Ben Rothick, you'll be lamenting 35. Oh, poor Ben. We'll celebrate for you.
Yeah.
It sounds like a good birthday. Good 35. Oh, there's a big, what is that thing? Big insect. Up too late at night, attracted to my light. Who are you?
Yeah, I've been.
You're gonna burn.
Bugs are in full force at Davis right now. They're everywhere.
It's summertime finally. Yeah, your audio, Justin, tonight, it went like robot for a couple of
Did it really?
like little bits, and then it was fine.
Huh.
And it was only a couple of times, and so
Was it early on?
early on, yeah.
Okay, because I was experiencing, for whatever reason, it was some sort of web lag or computer lag or something, because my websites were like disappearing. Like you go to change tabs and then the site wasn't coming up, and I had to reload a couple things, and then everything was ridiculous. Like Google took a bit to load, which never happens. So I don't know if that was my interwebs were.
Do you have Dropbox installed?
Probably not on this computer now.
No, okay. Because someone was saying that Dropbox is a big memory hog.
Yeah. So actually, apparently, is the Cortana thing, which can't be removed from Windows. Whatever.
Whatevs.
Whenever I spoke quietly while robotized, I was completely incoherent. Okay, I will never speak quietly again.
Oh dear God!
Now I will be yelling everything that I say.
Look at this cool rock, you guys.
That's pretty cool.
It's granite with a quartz band.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
I found it on the agate beach, and then I found this really cool granite that's all speckly.
Oh,
I love speckly granite. That's pretty.
Yeah. And I found one agate.
One agate.
Yes, but I don't have it anymore. It's gone.
1 agate, 2 agate, 3 agate, 4. When you get the agate, you run out the door.
And I have this rad handkerchief.
How many computers am I running? I'm running only one computer. Oh, there is another computer over there that is possibly paused on something.
Ha-ha.
That is possible. There is another computer running on this interweb stream, which, for all I know, is actually like playing YouTube videos.
It's probably just got some big memory hog thing open.
Because there's a computer that over there-ish somewhere that my kids use to bring up shows they want to watch, videos they want to watch. And I have noticed sometimes they'll just, and the headphones are plugged in. So they could have just turned the monitor off and walked away. And there could be like videos playing. Like, that's totally possible.
Oh, hey, Shouty Blair?
Yeah.
Who's Karen?
I don't know. It's just like, I pictured like your annoying coworker that always like bogarts your snacks, And Karen sounded perfect.
So for those of you in the chat room, I'm going to screen share our notes for the show tonight, and Blair's Sherry spider story, where it's spiders that overshare starve. So, and here comes Shouty Blair. That's why I don't want to give you a bite of my lunch, Karen. I just thought that was...
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I was like, is that a particular person at work? Or
No.
what's going on here?
Karen's not a real person.
An opportunity for a personal dig. Right?
Right there.
No, I think from now on, Karen will be the scapegoat for all things.
It should be.
Gosh darn it, Karen!
What do you have on your head now?
It's my Parks bandana.
Oh, parks are good. They deserve bandanas.
Check it out. Humboldt Redwood State Park bandana.
Oh, nice. You carry your map everywhere you go.
Yeah, and I bought this at the visitor center, and then we're driving out of the Avenue of the Giants, and I'm like, pull over! And that's where we saw Blair Grove. Blair Grove is a real place. And so, so then I just happened to have bought this, which I got very excited about. So then I looked up where Blair Grove was, and I marked it on my handkerchief right there.
That's awesome. You're like, right here, this is Blair Grove.
This is my grove, you guys. My grove. Yeah, so I have this now.
Yeah, Identity 4, you're right. If there is anyone named Karen watching or listening, this is not about you.
Maybe it is about you, Karen. Can you keep your hands to yourself? Maybe you should take a minute, Karen, and really think about yourself.
Okay, Karen, don't eat Blair's lunch, okay?
Sorry, Karen.
Don't even get close to Blair's food. Don't get close to Blair's desk. No.
Yep.
There you go with the neck bandana.
Neckerchiefing it.
Neckerchief.
Like a Cub Scout.
Is there anybody over in the Twitters?
Yeah, Karen, that item was clearly marked in the fridge.
Clearly marked.
What really happened? Just where did this come from?
I don't know. I guess it kind of fit a trope that you hear about, right? About like the person who steals your lunches in the office.
Mm-hmm. There's always one.
Yeah.
Why is there always one?
I don't know.
Why do they think it's okay?
It doesn't happen where I work now, but one of the places I used to work, there was a lunch thief, and just like almost every day, somebody's lunch would be gone, and a couple times it was mine, and it was a bunch of times, like every day it was somebody else. That this lunch thief was just like, no, I'm going to take this person's leftovers, or I'm going to take this person's sandwich. Like, why? Why would you do that? Every day.
It's not cool to double dip, Karen.
Gosh, Karen.
Oh my goodness.
Get it together, Karen.
Poor Karen. But she asked for this, right? No. Wait, no, she didn't. She just didn't know. It's okay.
Oh, I think Karen knew. I think Karen knows. Karen knows good and well what she's doing.
Karen knows. Well,
Nobody wants to listen to Coit, Karen.
Coit. K-O-I-T.
Take that soft rock off of the radio, Karen.
Oh, okay. Now I know who
Karen,
Karen is.
what happened to
Now
my erasers, Karen?
yeah, now I know who Karen
I
is.
suddenly
The soft
noticed
rock at work. I got her.
that
Go do
that
it.
you have all the paper clips, Karen. Meanwhile, I have none, Karen.
It's my stapler, Karen. My stapler. Can I have my stapler? My stapler. It's a red stapler. I like my red stapler.
Oh, I see that you conveniently requested the 4th of July off again, Karen.
Hopefully it's not the 4th of November. That will cause a problem.
that's
Yeah,
what I'm
Karen.
worried about.
Blair, I sense you've got some pent-up shoutiness about this make-believe person named Karen, who seems to be the culmination of all slights against you.
Are you watching YouTube videos, Karen? Because I'm trying to upload these files and they're taking a long time, Karen. The Jimmy Fallon clips can wait, Karen.
Karen.
Oh dear Lord.
Oh, Blair. You know what I saw? Do you know what I saw Karen doing?
What?
She's feeding the squirrels right outside your back door.
What? Karen! No, Karen! I swear to God, if I find a squirrel on my desk, Karen, I'm gonna knock your computer over and throw it onto your Honda
Wow.
Civic, Karen.
Hostile workplace Blair, everybody. I don't know.
I'm
I want to work with either
sprinkle
of them.
breadcrumbs all over your car, Karen, so that the seagulls know just where to go, Karen.
Ooh, there you go. That's scary.
This is starting to turn into scary Blair. Very quickly transitioning
Oh my
from
God.
Karen being the one with the
I know
problem.
where you sleep, Karen. Oh, is that a picture of your family, Karen? Noted.
Jeez. Wow. I'm really starting to become afraid of scary Blair.
Oh,
Oh my God. Meanwhile, I'm wearing a Boy Scout neckerchief and I'm doing that.
it's always the nice little Boy Scouts causing the problems. Shouty Boy Scouts.
Oh my God. Hold on, I just got an excellent tweet.
Karen gets all the cool
Tom
Pokemon.
Jackson Jr. Karen took my lunch and shared it with Bill from accounting. Hey Karen, this is not a buffet. Oh my God. Karen, nobody wants to hear your call with the podiatrist. Step outside for that call, Karen. I don't need to know about your corns, Karen.
I'm just imagining Karen clipping her nails at her desk.
Nobody needs to see what hat you put your cat in last night, Karen. Put that picture away, Karen.
Oh, speaking of cats, have you guys seen the Kitten Olympics?
No.
Oh my
Kit
gosh.
Olympics?
There's
Kit
such a
Olympics.
thing.
Oh yeah, let me show you this video. It is adorable. Okay, open it. Oh no, not the whole big screen. How do I make it bigger? There we go. Sharing.
Oh my God. Oh. Oh.
Oh, this is awful.
Forgettable meowments.
Oh my god.
Forgettable meowments.
Oh my god, I love them.
No, don't love them. Fear them.
Oh my god. Oh my god, on the vertical bar or on the what are they called? Parallel bars.
So
Parallel
funny. No, that's not what I want to show. Go away. Stop. Stop. Stop.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my
The
god.
cat Olympics are pretty. Kitten Olympics. They're pretty awesome. Therapy llamas in Portland? Are you kidding? Llamas spit and hiss.
Yeah, llamas. I could believe therapy alpacas, but therapy llamas sound like a bad idea.
Yeah. Stop feeding the cat catnip, Karen. I'm really tired of your cat using my leg for a cat tree, Karen.
Don't sit in my chair, you get cat hair all over it, Karen.
That was the one. That was the one.
Who knew this would be such a gold mine? Oh my god.
Too much fun.
Stop dotting your I's with hearts and inter-office memos, Karen.
Justin's down.
I almost did a spit take all over all my electronics.
Oh my god.
Oh God. So good.
Casual Friday doesn't mean it's for pink flamingo sweaters, Karen.
Oh my God. I have been out of offices for a really long time.
Oh my god. Nobody wants to smell your boiled fish for lunch, Karen.
Oh God.
Eat that away from your desk, Karen.
Oh, good God. What video is strength? Okay, now I'm getting YouTube. Okay, here it is.
What?
Sanjay Gupta is in Portland. And he's looking for therapy llamas. Wait, which window is it? This one.
Oh my god.
And a llama and an alpaca.
If you go to a minute 50,
a minute 50?
mm-hmm. Yeah, so go back and forth. Can't tell. Yeah, right there, right there. Look. Oh my god, they're adorning the llamas.
Let me adorn llama.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh.
That's so weird. Women don't wear cargo pants, Karen. Oh my god.
Llama therapy. It's really llama
Speakerphone
therapy.
is an option, Karen. Oh my god. So good.
Speakerphone is an option. Guys.
We don't want to hear you FaceTiming your cats, Karen.
Oh God. You know there is somebody out there FaceTiming their cat right now.
There is. Absolutely.
Have you eaten your food today? Did you go potty in the box?
Mr. Whiskers?
Mr. Whiskers, is everything okay over there? Are you sure you've taken care of everything all right? Yeah, of course. You're such a good kitty. I love Mr. Robot. What are you talking about?
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard good things.
I've only seen the first season. I'm waiting for the second season to get all in, but first season was mind-blowingly good. Mind-blowingly, bogglingly fabulous. Layer upon layer of interest. It was great.
Oh my gosh. God. It's okay, so I don't have anything against anyone named Karen.
Mr. Robot is not actually about robots. It's true.
It's a phonetic thing. It's all about the emphasis.
Emphasis.
The emphasis. And about, it's the two syllables and the hard K and the way that you can say Karen with like such disdain, like Karen.
Yeah, that's why it works.
That's why it works. I apologize if anyone was named Karen and they're upset.
So Karen, it's not that we're not interested in the many ailments of your various cats. I'm not sure how it fits into the weekly action plan meeting.
You have one job, Karen. It's to write the minutes, Karen. And we don't need doodles of cats on the minutes, Karen.
So Karen, I get it. I get that you're disappointed, but I don't think that maternity leave was designed for bringing new fur babies home. I know. It's just I don't think that's what they were thinking when they wrote that.
Mr. Whiskers having a cough is not a suitable excuse for a sick day, Karen. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean it's just a personal opinion, Karen. It's not. I don't mean that but it's I think 18 cats is probably enough.
Nobody wants a donation to research feline AIDS as their Christmas gift, Karen. You like that one?
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Actually, one year I did have a coworker donate a goat to a tribe in Africa in my name for Christmas,
Wait,
which
what?
was pretty cool.
So,
But it was funny because it was one of those classic things where she handed me this envelope and I was like, "Ah, sweet, something cool's in here." And then I like opened it up and it was a picture of a goat. And it said, "A goat has been given to some African tribe in your name." I was like, "All right."
So
Okay.
so it is your parking space, Karen. It is your parking space, but and I get it. You're parking on the street now instead, but it doesn't mean that you can build a cat shelter for feral cats in that parking. It's design. It's you can give the parking space to somebody else to park in, but you can't create your own feral cat refuge in our parking lot. I'm sorry.
You can't use my keyboard after feeding feral cat sardines, Karen. It smells.
It's quite obvious that this is a helper animal, companion animal, or blind companion animal in training, and actually the vest is obviously made for a dog, which is why your cat isn't moving.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
No, Karen. I don't think as a policy we should make everybody keep their windows cracked just in case they have an animal in the vehicle. A lot of people here don't have pets and wouldn't bring them to work and leave them in the car, so I don't know why we would make everybody keep all of their windows open a bit.
A milkshake is not a fitness smoothie, Karen.
No, Karen, I totally believe you. I'm sure Herbalife is fantastic. I'm not. I don't think I need to be on a new diet. But thank you for all of the brochures you left at my desk. It wasn't. I didn't find it at all cluttery. It was an informative morning I had. You know what? I would give them back, but unfortunately, I had set them aside, and somebody put them in the shredder. It wasn't me, but otherwise, I probably should have thought of that I could just give them back. But I had them stacked because I was going to read through them, later once I was done working. But somehow somebody must have accidentally put them in the paper shredder.
Your cat can't come as your +1 to the Christmas party, Karen.
Nor can they be added to the health plan. They can't. I know they depend on you, but that they still. They can't. It doesn't work like that. There isn't. I know. We're looking into finding a way to add a veterinary benefit to the health plan, but as of yet, we haven't found an HMO that does that. So.
I swear to God, Karen, if you show me that Sarah McLachlan video one more time.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was kidding when I said I'd never heard of Phil Collins, but I did. I didn't. Yeah, but and thank you for sending me all those lovely videos through the company email. I'm sure that won't face attention anywhere.
Hey, yawning.
Yeah, I yawned.
Oh. I can't have a pet Martin, Karen. That's funny. I know.
Oh, you can't have a pet Martin. Karen.
Karen. Yes, Karen, you can listen to This Week in Science at Work. Yeah.
So just to, again to cover this, I think we've talked about this a few times now. But the company trash cans they're basically for trash that we generate here at work, and bringing anything, let alone bags of cat litter in and disposing them at work is not something that we would encourage in the future.
No, Karen, we can't relocate all the ants.
Oh, she cares. She does care, though. She's a caring Karen. She's a caring Karen.
Oh, I like your picture of the crows, Crow Lady Blair.
Yeah.
Black hair. Nice. Liking it. The crow flock. So very goth. So very gothy.
I wish I could be that cool. No, can't do it.
You want to see some cool art? There's
Yeah.
this cool art that I'm really digging on right now. It's body painting, and it is amazing. Hold on. So she paints these scenes and then paints the people to look like part of the paintings. Alexa Mead.
Oh, yeah. I've seen this before. Pretty awesome, or something like this before. It's very cool.
So everything is painted to actually look like a painting and be a painting, as opposed to... I love the way it looks.
Installation painting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh my goodness. Hold on.
Oh, that one's cool. The black and the white. Oh, I like that. That one was super cool. They're so neat looking.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really creepy to have somebody in a painting all of a sudden like turn and look at you. Ah! The eyes in the paintings, they're always following you.
Oh, which reminds me, that's a project I need to work on.
I forgot to mute things while I blew my nose, didn't I? I just realized.
I need to figure out how to do...
Good night, Identity
I need to learn how
4.
to
We
do,
missed him.
3D printing.
That's right.
I think I have a 3D printing project. Might be
3D
better
printing, cool.
For the last time, Karen, stop replacing my science texts with Judy Blume novels.
I like it. All right, you guys.
All
I
right,
like
good
these.
night,
I like the Karenisms. This is good. Did somebody get a list of all these?
I know. I think somebody slice it up. Somebody was saying they should make a soundboard out of all of them.
No.
God damn it, Karen! Why'd you have to make me sign off of This Week in Science?
Why did you do it?
Damn it, Karen! I was having fun in the after show.
Damn it, Karen. All right,
Karen,
you guys.
why'd you have to study in? Why'd you have to schedule an 8 a.m. staff meeting, Karen?
Ooh. Because it would be Karen that would do that.
She would.
On
And
Monday.
she would do it across town.
No, and it would be like on Monday morning when you should be sleeping.
Yeah. And she wouldn't bring any snacks. Classic Karen.
Yeah, and I think it's great that you gave all of your cats their own individual Facebook pages. I have this sort of policy of only friending humans.
Stop asking me to friend you on LinkedIn, Karen. It's not going to happen.
You're good.
I will not come visit your niece's Girl Scout troop, Karen.
Oh, well, that's just me.
It is me.
For that.
Oh, man. And I won't buy their cookies, Karen.
Oh, the Thin Mint ones, whatever those are, or the coconut ones, those are pretty good. Come on. I'll probably buy a few boxes.
Karen, I'll buy one box, but please, please, stop selling the Girl Scout cookies at work, Karen.
The crumbs get everywhere. Everyone's irritable from all of the sugar. Karen, cut it out.
Oh.
All right. Say
And
goodnight,
for the
Blair.
love of God, Karen, don't touch the old-fashioned glazed donut. Karen, that's my donut, Karen.
Did Karen replace the candy bowl with apples?
Classic Karen.
Classic Karen. Say goodnight, Blair.
Good night, Karen.
Say goodnight, Blair.
Good night, Blair.
Say goodnight, Kiki.
Good night, Kiki.
Say goodnight, Karen. Oh, of course she won't say goodnight.
Oh,
She's already
classic
gone.
Karen.
Classic
Classic
She's already
Karen. She's
gone.
already left.
Until next week.
We will see you again. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.